welcome to the show. Great to be with you. Thanks for tuning in today. Glad you could stop by. So good to be with you. And we'll be here a couple of hours, as always, Monday through Friday. And we go on the air at 9:06 a.m. Eastern Time. The show is coast to coast, including Hawaii, so it does play at different times in different markets. And as they say, check your local listings. And if you want to watch the show, you can watch it on at least three different platforms: letstalknutrition.com, YouTube, and Facebook, if you drift away from your radio. And a lot going on this morning. If you didn't hear already, if you're probably pretty much dialed into the news, but Billy Graham passed away. And I thought we would just spend a few moments talking about him. First of all, he was 99. So apparently he did something right to live that long. As long as I've been alive, and probably most of you, he has been around. And I wouldn't say that I followed him ardently. I didn't. I would track him in the news from time to time. He certainly had a remarkable presence in the religious sphere, but also in the political sphere as well, and had relationships with several of the presidents, and was a religious and spiritual counselor to several of them. What's interesting about him, too, he was smart. He figured out back in the 1930s and 40s that he could reach a bigger audience by doing what? Going from tent to tent? No. Radio. He was a radio guy. He was into radio and communication early, and he figured he could reach more. I mean, it was so obvious. And many of his kind of, practicing the way he did would move literally from church to church, tent to tent, or have their congregation, and that was it. Their audience was small, relatively speaking. He was trying to reach as many people as he could. And of course, he's an American evangelical Christian evangelist, and he was ordained a Southern Baptist minister. Became well known. Really, I mean, I guess his career took off at late 1940s, 1949 or so. In the 20th century, regarded probably as one of the most formidable preachers, and had great influence. And he was strict. He was a literalist. The Bible was, he interpreted the Bible literally and felt that the Bible was an infallible document and was to be treated and interpreted, read, and practiced as such. Now, we can debate that. Anytime humans are involved in things, I'm always skeptical when they're writing and making and creating things. But I guess he believed that the writings in the Bible were divinely inspired and guided, hence infallible. He preached to live audiences of nearly, they report, 215 million people in more than 885 countries and territories around the world. That's remarkable when you think about it. He was an advisor to Harry Truman, Barack Obama, Richard Nixon, Lyndon Johnson. He was particularly close, as I read this morning, to Dwight D. Eisenhower. Now, the president that I remember first was Harry Truman, and then we go on from there. He was born in 1938. He was 3 years older than my mother. He was not a racist. In fact, believed in integration, was apparently fond of Martin Luther King, bailed him out of jail. Martin Luther King got arrested. Billy Graham went and paid the bail, got him out of jail for protesting when he was arrested and when he was demonstrating, and Billy Graham bailed him out. He was pals with Robert Schuller at Crystal Cathedral. I'm sure many of you know who that is. And he was a striking figure, handsome. I was even looking at a photograph back in the 60s. He was a handsome man. He opened a variety of media and publishing outlets. I'm telling you, the guy was way, way ahead of his time. He got it. He understood that it was media, communication, connection, bigger audience, bigger platforms. That's what he was doing. It's ironic that he when you think about when he was born and all the technology that he saw, I guess toward the latter part of his life, he couldn't, he was not working and wasn't able to really capture the power of the internet, social media, and whatnot, which to some has been a blessing and a curse, no pun intended. But he was not without his critics. Many opposed him. And I was telling Gary the story about some referred to him as, and I'm not making this up, the Antichrist. And I said, you know what? No good deed goes unpunished. How ironic. Here's a man preaching the word of God, trying to better the spiritual health of people, and he gets referred to as the Antichrist. I mean, are you serious? The Antichrist? Because they didn't agree with his religious philosophy. And some said that he set back Christianity 2,000 years. He was some quotes, don't remember exactly some of the people that said these things, but one individual referred to him as the Antichrist. I mean, come on, man. So no good deed goes unpunished. You know what I wouldn't say that I was a big fan, that I was, again, an ardent follower of him. I wasn't. But you know what I admire was his commitment. His commitment to others. His whole life was spent in the service of others, when you think about that. And interested in the spiritual health of people his entire life, since he was a boy. He graduated from what now is called Trinity College. Isn't that here in Florida?
It's in Temple Terrace.
It was one time called the Florida
Bible Institute.
Bible Institute. And Temple Terrace is right not far from here.
He started street preaching there in downtown Tampa.
Mm-hmm. Didn't you say he took a picture with Johnny Cash?
It has a picture of Johnny Cash. I'll look for it. And
I asked you, I said, was that when he went to Folsom Prison to see? Did Billy go with him? A remarkable man. I admire the commitment. I admire the passion. His whole life, it never waned. You have to respect that, right? You have to respect that. Now, I'm looking at a photo of him now when he's much older. He's 99 years old. He was 99. Didn't quite make 100. And the aging process, what it does to us, how it takes its toll. I'm so impressed. Born in 1918 in Charlotte, North Carolina. Dairy farm. Grew up on a dairy farm. Humble beginnings. Remarkable career. Billy Graham, dead at 99. You are listening to Let's Talk Nutrition. We're coast to coast, including Hawaii. And we're global. There he is. It's a beautiful black and white. That's a nice photo, man. Look at Johnny Cash. We're showing that if you're watching the show. Billy Graham and Johnny Cash together. The saint in the center. Right, Gary?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Billy Graham, the Antichrist. Are they serious? Come on, man. People they go a little off the chain in their criticism. You may not agree with his religious philosophy, but my goodness. We come back, we'll return to nutrition of a different sort.
I'm Joy McCarthy, holistic nutritionist, and I expect more from my multivitamin. I've researched many vitamins, and what's truly different about Every Woman's One Daily from New Chapter is that it's fermented with probiotics and whole foods and gentle even on an empty stomach. Every Woman's One Daily helps you feel good every day, giving you immune, energy, and stress support, and nutrients for bone and heart health. You will notice a difference. Every Woman's One Daily recently won the Best Multivitamin Award, and I love that it's non-GMO project verified. Discover the wisdom of nature with New Chapter.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce.
Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition, wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show and whatever you may be doing. Alina Sewell will be my guest today. She'll be along here in a moment. She's in studio. I previewed yesterday that she would be in studio, so we'll have her on today and have a conversation with her. Might be able to learn a thing or two and figure out what inspires her and why, and what we can learn from that in terms of our own health and wellness and our approach. We'll get into her background. She's a personal trainer, is a mom, has a couple of kids, and has managed to stay fit That's what's really a very important message here. And so we'll get to her in a moment. I saw this morning an article, yet another one, on the diet. How should we eat? My goodness. Just when you think it's like a piece of exercise equipment, the minute you think they couldn't come up with another one, there's a Saturday morning infomercial on yet a new exercise equipment. Same thing with these different ways of eating, low fat versus low carb, and which is best for you in terms of weight loss. It is the most ironic feature of our society currently in our culture. We are in literally the grips of an obesity epidemic. And we're pushing more closer to 70% of the population being overweight or obese. We're at 68 point something plus, right? With better than a third of the people in this country being obese. Better than a third. At random, 1 out of every 3 people is obese. Think about that. More money is spent on diet products. More money is spent promoting diet products, marketing, whatnot. If somebody came from another planet and spent a day here, they would think we were the healthiest people on earth. When you look at print, electronic media, the internet, and all of the advertisements, the marketing relative to exercise, relative to food and diet, you would think, my God, these people are just paragons of physical perfection and health. No, we're not. That's the irony of it all. And here yet another study. This caught my attention because there's the keto diet, there's a Mediterranean diet, there's the Russian diet, there's the cabbage soup diet. There's hundreds of them, one after another. Some are high carb, some are low fat, some are high protein, low carb, low fat, all these different combinations, taking 3 macronutrients and manipulating them high and low. So, which one is right? Which one will work? Which one is healthy? Which one has the long-term effects? You know my point of view. I've written about it. You can read my articles on it. Diets do not work. Going on a weight loss diet is one of the most least effective strategies to lose weight long-term and keep it off. It's almost guaranteed to fail. It's not my opinion. That's what the data tell me. There are researchers at Stanford University School of Medicine in California did a study exploring the one key aspect of which diet is the best, low fat or low carb. Low fat or low carb. See what they found out here. The lead author in the study was Dr. Christopher Gardner. His data didn't clear things up, made things a little bit more complicated. The data are what the data are, and whatever he found, he found. And he said, quote, "We've all heard stories of a friend who went on one diet, it worked great, and then another friend tried the same diet, and it didn't work at all," he said. "It's because we're all very different, and we're just starting to understand the reasons for this diversity," close quote. Yes, we all are biochemically, biologically different. We're very much the same. That's why we can go to anatomy class and study human anatomy and get a pretty good understanding of how we're put together generally. But we all have our own unique biology in the way we metabolize food, what foods agree with us, what we like, dislike, our relationship with food, and so on and so forth. And Dr. Gardner said maybe we shouldn't be asking what's the best diet, but what's the best diet for whom? Close quote. Good point. In his study, there were 609 people. They were 18 to 50 years of age. And it was about 50% male, 50% female. They were put into 2 groups, randomly assigned. One group had a low-carb diet. One group had a low-fat diet. And they followed their assigned diet for 1 year. They tracked them for a year, which is, I like that. So it's a sort of quasi-longitudinal study. And they said that in order to gain a better understanding of the factors that might drive weight gain and weight loss, Dr. Gardner and his researchers sequenced the participants' genomes. In doing so, they said they looked for gene patterns that they could associate with effectiveness, with the effectiveness fat or carb metabolism, whatever that means. Come back, I'm going to tell you what they found. This is humorous to me, in that there are only 3 macronutrients: protein, carbohydrate, and fat. Each of those macronutrients, there's only a certain number of foods that you will eat. And given the way human nature is, people will pick only a small select items for each category and eat that most of their life and never change their diet throughout their life. The way you ate at 20 is not the way you should be eating at 40 or 60 or 80. Come back, I'll tell you more what they found.
Energy.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce exclusively on Amazon.com.
back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition, wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show, and whatever you may be doing. Alina Sewell is my guest today, and I've known Alina for quite a while. Over the years, I've talked to her here and there. I bumped into her in the gym, and that's where I initially met her, and she was with her kids, and they were very young at the time. And she's a mom, and she has 2 youngsters, and there she is on camera if you're watching. And I was struck by the fact that here was a young woman with 2 youngsters and was in shape, in terrific shape. And I was curious about that, and that's how because when I see people at the gym and I recognize that, I talk to them, I want to find out what they're doing and why, and see what I can learn from that and what's motivating people. In addition to doing the research, doing studies where you're sort of disconnected, I do like to talk with people face-to-face, one-on-one, to get their narrative and their experience, to gain a little bit more insight. So, Alina, welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. It's great to have you on. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
And
Thanks for having me.
Braving the ride in. I know where you live is riding in is an adventure. I do it every morning, so we're glad to have you on.
Thank you.
I know you're sitting there listening to me reporting on this study about low-carb versus low-fat diets. So I'm going to fold you into this, and then we'll introduce you, and we'll get a sense of how you eat and your relationship with food. What's interesting about this study is that they put these folks, they split them into 2 groups, and there was a big sample, 609 people. They're 18 to 50 years of age, 50% women, 50% female. And they did this for 1 year. For the first 8 weeks, for the diet that they were on, they were instructed to consume no more than 20 grams of either fats or carbs per day. That's it. So if they're on a low-fat diet, no more than 20 grams. On a low-carb diet, no more than 20 grams. That would be equivalent to a half slices of whole wheat bread for carbs, or a large handful of nuts in the case of fats. That's it. So that gives you a sense of what we mean by 20 grams. Half slices of whole wheat bread. That's 20 grams.
That's not very much.
1.5 slices. 1.5 slices. And then a handful of nuts if you were on the fat diet, low fat diet. So that is low carb, low fat. Right? Now,
I'm curious as to the rest of their diet too.
Okay, well, as the second month of their diet, they didn't report on that. So it's a good point. They were allowed to make adjustments, adding back 5 to 15 grams of either carbs or fat, little by little. As the year drew to a close, they said, those who had been following a low-fat diet had a daily fat intake of 57 grams a day. Those who compared to 87 grams before they started the study. So they dropped. They went on from 87 down to 57, 30 grams difference in fat. Those that were on a low-carb diet had a carb intake of 132 grams compared to 247 when they started, a significant decrease in their carbohydrate intake. It's a low-carb diet. On average, when they took the entire sample and averaged the weight loss, people averaged, but for both groups, about 13 pounds over a 1 year period. Both groups lost weight. And they figured out also that being in this study also made people more conscious of what they're eating, and it changed their relationship with food, got them to think about what they're eating, and so on and so forth. Now, the takeaway from this study is that both approaches worked for these individuals. Some people lost 60 pounds, and some people gained 15 to 20 pounds. It depended on the individual. It wasn't a function so much as it was at low carb or low fat, as it was just also as much as who is the individual and how do they metabolize those kinds of foods. And, you know, I don't walk away any more illuminated from this study. It doesn't really illuminate the landscape all that much for me. the way we talk about it around here is we use nutritional principles and lifestyle principles. And I was asking you about your diet. How would you describe your diet? You're what, 29?
29.
You'll be 30.
Yes.
And you've had 2 children.
Yes.
Okay. And how much you look? You're fit. I don't know what your body fat is. What's your body fat?
I honestly don't know my body fat either.
It's not very much.
It's not very much.
What are you, about 130?
135
Okay.
ish, and that's a healthy weight for me. You know, between 135 and 137. I'm 5'4".
And most of that's muscle.
I hope so.
Well, that's why
Yeah.
that to some women listening today are going to say,
Yep.
she's fat.
Yep.
You know, we have you on camera. You're far from that. We could have you stand up. You're fit.
Yes.
You're carrying a lot of muscle weight. Muscle is heavier than fat.
Yes.
So that accounts for
Yes. A lot.
the weight.
Yes.
Your friend Teresa Di Pasquale just posted on Facebook her weight.
Oh, yes.
You,
Because a lot of women focus on the scale and just the number.
She posted, and what would you say her weight is currently?
Well, she's tall.
Yeah, she's a big woman. She's big.
Yeah. I mean, I would say maybe 150, between 150.
Good guess.
155. Yeah.
162.
Okay. Yeah.
And she's tall.
Yeah.
And it's muscle. People saying, well, she has to look like a blob. She hardly looks like that, right, Gary?
Far from it.
Yeah.
She's pretty.
But I've noticed that in a lot of the people that we bring in, though, that the toner they are, the heavier they are, but the thinner
Muscle.
they look.
Yeah, the muscle is heavier.
And I noticed that too. I mean, because I'm going back to the gym and everything, and losing weight, and
What's interesting, what will happen, you'll lose weight, and you're putting on. You want to lose fat. You don't want to lose muscle. And your body contour changes, muscle to ratio, fat ratio, and you'll find that sometimes you'll start to regain some weight. Well, it's because you're putting on muscle, but you're wearing smaller size clothes.
yeah.
Okay, so that accounts for it.
It does.
Your diet is how would you describe it as what?
Well, I'm considered a healthy individual, so I like to say just a balanced diet. It's a fair amount of carbs and healthy fats. It also depends.
What percent of your diet is plants?
A big
50%?
Yeah, I would say 50 to 60%.
What do you normally eat in a day? Let me ask you that. I mean, I want to know because
Okay.
We'll
that's what
find
I
out.
wanna know.
We'll find out what she eats in a day. We'll figure
That's a
this-
good question, though.
We'll figure it out. I know that you eat some meat.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try to stay away from...
You're not a whole food plant-based diet.
No, not
Okay.
strictly.
All right.
No.
All right, good enough.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk to Joe in St. Pete. He went on a diet. He lost a ton of weight. We'll get an update on his diet. He did a crash program, and we'll see where he's at. And then we'll talk to Alina about working out, physical exercise, diet, and how she puts it all together with 2 kids, no less.
Whether you spend your free time on a treadmill, under a car, or in your garden, if your active lifestyle leaves you sore, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce may be exactly what you need. Inflammaforce has a natural herb blend that acts as an anti-inflammatory to help maintain healthy joint and mobility support. There are standardized herbs like white willow, boswellia, turmeric, ginger, and devil's claw. The vegetarian capsule promotes easy digestion and a fast-acting dissolve process. Inflammaforce includes a proprietary enzyme herbal blend full of antioxidants and flavonoids that target pain and inflammation throughout the body. Body Vigor's Inflammaforce contains ingredients that support normal, healthy joint flexibility and function, builds healthy tissue, and helps with your recovery process. So if you're tired of sore joints and inflamed muscles, Body Vigor's Inflammaforce is your answer. Purchase Inflammaforce exclusively on Amazon.com.
So, what do you do? How do you go about your diet and your exercise program and figuring it out? It's crazy. Alina Sewell is my guest today, and I thought she would be a great guest because she's a personal trainer. Mm-hmm. She has two youngsters. I believe they're 10 and 11, if my memory serves me.
9 and 10.
9 and 10.
Close.
And, she's turning 30, so she had them relatively young and stayed fit throughout this period. She's a personal trainer. And I'm trying to get a sense of what she does, and then we'll talk about that and then weave in some principles as we move along here to try to figure out, okay, what is the approach? I mean, sooner or later, you got to get down to brass tacks, and you got to do something and try something to see what works and what doesn't work, and I'll ask her about her experience with her clients. In the meanwhile, in St. Petersburg, Florida, Joe went on this diet several months ago and lost a pile of weight, and we're going to get an update to see what he's done and where he's at. Joe, welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
How you doing, Doc? I'm doing fine. It's my 140th day keeping my weight where I expect it to be. My goal was 175. I'm between 175, 174. I can vary within the week, a pound up or down. And now I'm at a point where I want to tighten up everything, keep my waistline down. I went from a 40 to a 34, 33. And I want to tone up as much as I can, yet not put any. I want to put on some weight. I'm probably looking at maybe going up to as high as maybe 180,
okay,
depending on muscle size that I actually do put on.
Okay, so how many calories a day are you consuming right now? Do you know?
I'm consuming about 2,000 calories.
Okay, good enough. That's good. So you want to go back into the gym, and to create better muscle tone, put on more muscle mass, you're going to need to do resistance training. You're going to need to lift weights, free weights, machines. That's what you're going to need to do. Cardiorespiratory work isn't going to get that done. It does what it does, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but that's how you're going to gain the tone and put on some muscle mass. Now, and it's going to take
high reps.
It depends. Given your age, given your health status, what I know, and your age, when you say high reps, I mean, we'll ask Alina her take on that here in a second. You got to figure out, what is my goal? How many days a week am I going to train? Am I going to use free weights? Am I going to use machines? It's going to be a combination. How long am I going to devote? How many hours a week am I going to devote to my program? And at this point, you're not doing this to compete. You're doing this to be healthy.
Right.
So, and you want it realistically to think that you're going to put on large amounts of muscle. It's not going to happen.
No.
And it doesn't need to happen. So let me ask. Let's go. Don't hang up. Just now. Let's see what Alina says. Mm-hmm. So if he were your client, how old are you?
Yeah, I was going to ask.
How old are you? How many?
I'm 75.
Okay.
75.
He's
wow.
75,
Awesome.
and he's in good shape.
Awesome.
He's in good shape.
Yeah.
Okay. He's not infirmed.
Yeah. Good.
He gets
for you.
around. He's very active. You heard how much he weighs. So if he were your client, what would you do with him?
Yeah.
You heard what he wants to do. What would you do with him?
No injuries.
No injuries.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm a huge fan of staying away from machines, but machines can be beneficial. So, I would stick with moderate to high rep range.
What would that be? Moderate.
From 12 to 20 with things. You don't need to be training for strength. Of course, you're going to gain strength the more you work out. You don't need to be training as an endurance athlete. Like doctor said, you need to be just staying active and staying healthy. So that's what's important.
How many days?
Tighten up, Doc. I want to tighten up.
So you need to, of course, you need to stick with weights. Of course, put your cardio in there.
How many days a week would you, if he were your client, how many days would you train him?
Well, if he's not
How many days a week are you willing to go to the gym?
I'm willing to go 6 times a week.
All right. Let's assume we can get 5 out of you.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to get you to go 5 days a week.
Yeah.
What would you do with them?
You can't go wrong with cardio. It's heart health, so you can't go wrong with cardio. But if you're not necessarily trying to lose weight and he's wanting to tighten up, you're going to burn a whole lot of fat with the weights, and you can do a 30-minute HIIT training session, which is high intensity interval training. That's going to burn more fat than an hour of cardio, and you're going to be building muscle and toning.
Okay.
So you can get in the gym for 30 to 45 minutes.
Would you divide up his program into, for example, focusing on muscle groups? Maybe one day you do chest, one day you do legs, another day you do, or chest and shoulders, chest and tri, and some combination. Would you do it that way?
And you can, but that's kind of hypertrophy training. So that's kind of focusing on certain muscle groups to grow them and develop them, which is fine. That's great. But for his goal, it kind of makes more sense to kind of stick with maybe 4 to 5 days a week of full body circuit training.
So you would do a full body circuit training approach.
I would. If he's wanting aesthetics, if you're wanting to actually see changes in your shoulders, see changes in your back, then you really 1 day a week shoulders and triceps. The next day legs, lower body. The next day back and biceps.
You would do the whole body. You would train the whole body each day in a circuit, like in a circuit.
Yeah,
program.
I would do, for example, Monday full body. Maybe Tuesday is just cardio. Go back Wednesday, a full body circuit. Thursday, cardio. And then Friday, go back to a full body circuit. So you're kind of breaking it up.
That sounds great.
Yeah, so that, you're not breaking down your muscles every single day. You're kind of giving it a break.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, that's great. That's a great idea.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And how long?
I like that, Doc. I like that. I like that.
How long would you have him do a full body workout? How long do you think it would take him to do from head to toe to do a full body workout circuit training?
Make sure you're warmed up properly. Warm up properly.
How long?
Warm up for at least 15 to 20 minutes, no more than that. So that means get your heart rate up a little bit.
We'll talk about what you do to do that. Mm-hmm. So once he starts the actual circuit training,
once you start that, you can get a good workout in 45 minutes or less.
Okay. So yeah. I'm thinking
absolutely
about an hour in the gym to do your toning. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then if, on days you don't do that, when you're doing cardio, you may spend an hour, you may spend 45 minutes, whatever. So what she has you doing is 3 days a week of full body training using a circuit method, and then a couple of days doing cardio. Break it up with cardio. All right.
Cardio. Is she talking about cardio as doing the elliptical and treadmill?
Yes.
Any form of cardio.
Biking,
that can be
swimming,
running, jump rope, rowing. Rowing is great. Rowing would be good for you.
I love rowing.
Yeah.
I love the rowing machine.
Yeah, check out the rowing machine.
We come back. I know you'll probably hang up. We'll pick it up on the other side of the hour, and we'll talk some more about it, Joseph.
Feeling tired after your meal?
Almost 52% of men experience erectile dysfunction and benign prostatic hyperplasia. If you've had challenges with virility, sexual health, or low energy, Body Vigor's Alpha Extension may be the answer for you. Body Vigor's Alpha Extension can help revitalize your alpha male and extend your love. Our formula is one of the highest quality nutraceuticals available, formulated to support the processes involved in promoting a healthy male sex drive, energy, and stamina. Alpha Extension has 2 powerful herbal blends, Virilomax, which focuses on male sexual health, and T-Pump Activator, which helps balance your testosterone levels. Revitalize your alpha male with Body Vigor's Alpha Extension, exclusively available on Amazon.com.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition. Thanks for tuning in today. Sort of like a nuts and bolts theme today. How do you do things? And Alina Sewell is my guest, and she's a personal trainer. She's a mom. She has 2 youngsters, 9 and 10. She's approaching 30. Managed to stay in shape all these years in raising the kids, and walks the talk. And so I thought to bring her in and have her share with you some of her ideas. We were talking with Joe, for example, who called in, who he lost a ton of weight over the holidays. He's down to 174, 175 pounds. He was like 225 or more than that. I don't know. He's lost a lot of weight. So now he's trying to tone up, and she gave him some ideas about how to do that. Mm-hmm. And in talking with him, a couple of concepts came up. Circuit training and what's called high-intensity interval training, HIIT. And those terms are thrown around a lot, and I think they cause a lot more conceptual confusion than anything else. And I see people doing some of these things at the gym, or at least they think they're doing them. I don't know what they're doing, but I always marvel at the people that can go on a treadmill, read. The only thing they don't do is sleep on there. They eat, they read, they drink, they watch TV, they talk, and I'm thinking, I got to focus on what I'm doing. I'm going to fall off this thing. You're not supposed to be reading War and Peace while you're on the treadmill. If you're that relaxed, in my opinion, you're not doing it right. Mm-hmm. At least that's my opinion. So we'll try to clear it up. What do we mean by circuit training, interval training, high-intensity interval training? Talk to Alina about her diet a little bit. Alina, welcome back to the show. I'll bring you on right away. Thanks for coming in today and taking time to chat with us.
Of course.
So Joe's an interesting case. A 75-year-old man lost over, 50-some pounds or whatever. He lost a lot of weight. He's down to 174 pounds. Now he wants to tone up. I have many listeners like that. I mean, that's remarkable. For his age, he's still interested. He wants to stay in shape.
Absolutely.
His diet is pretty good. And you had mentioned circuit training to him, and you had recommended that maybe he does like full body training 3 days a week, and a couple of days a week he does his cardio respiratory training.
Right.
What do you mean? What do you mean by circuit training? And then we'll talk about the HIIT training.
Okay. So
what's circuit training?
So I'll explain what circuit training is, and then I'll kind of give you an example of what a training circuit looks like. So training circuit style, circuit training is a form of conditioning that involves both strength training and muscle endurance. So you're using weights, but in a moderate to high rep range, which is why I recommended it for him, because that's kind of exactly what he needs. So an example of a circuit style workout is maybe picking 5 to 6 movements. So things like kettlebell swings, ball slams, full body movements, and picking five of those.
Do you use machines or do you use weights?
I personally don't use much machines at all.
Why?
So,
Why? A lot of people like using machines.
They do, and there's nothing wrong with it. Once again, it kind of goes back to why you're exercising. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? Are you competing for something? Machines, for me, really play no role in my goals, my fitness goals.
For you?
For me. So,
do the machines make it easier for people who are non-athletes? Mm-hmm. The machines are trying to replicate what we do with a free weight.
Yeah, and I start a lot of my clients with machines because they don't have the core stability to do a lot of exercises on their own.
Let's take Joe. Mm-hmm. All right, so we're going to do a full body circuit train workout. Mm-hmm. Do we start at the top with chest? So what would be the first exercise, for example?
Well, I would kind of have to see do an assessment with him and see how his strength is.
Let's assume he's average.
Just
average guy.
Okay, so there are machines that I do use for my clients in a circuit style, like the leg press. I think the leg press is great.
Okay. What about you have leg extension, leg press, leg curls?
Yep, all those are machines.
You have chest machines. You have machines for chest.
And
you
you
even have bicep machines. So would you, in this circuit training that you would put together for him, would you start with chest or would you start with legs? I mean, what would you do?
You know, with him, with his age and his condition, I would kind of do the full body movements. So, for example, like a ball slam. Okay.
What's that?
It's a weighted ball. They come in different sizes, and they're usually filled with sand. You squat down and then throw it up over your head and throw it down. But there's a lot of benefits to just that simple movement, because with his age, he needs to stick with things that are going to help him in everyday life. Sitting and standing, picking things up, putting things up into a shelf. He's not training for a bodybuilding show. He's not training to be a CrossFit athlete or a powerlifter.
Can you put a circuit training program together that would involve weights and machines?
You can. Yeah, you can mix anything up, actually. You can mix machines with, it may be difficult to do in the gym. You may not have access, because a circuit style, you want to keep everything right in a little area so that you're bam, 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 you know.
So like I was looking here on this one site, they were giving an example of a circuit exercise. They had this person doing low side step movement, kneeling row movement, a static lunge with a twist movement, a plank.
So see, a lot of those are kind of full body movements.
They're all full body movements. And so that's what in circuit training, you're implicating the full body. Is that what you're?
It's makes more sense. You know, you can do focus on lower body and make it circuit style, like leg press, 12 reps, go right to the leg extension, 15 reps, Romanian deadlifts, 15 reps, and then back to the leg press, and just kind of keep that up for maybe 4 or 5 rounds. So you're strength training and building endurance with your muscles.
So there's not a lot of time in between exercises.
Maybe after a round, give yourself about 20 to 30 seconds.
I see.
And then get right back on it.
Then you could do a round of circuits to train the chest.
You can.
Or the arms, or the back.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can apply that
so
concept
your trainer,
to any
if
body
he had a
part.
personal trainer, the personal trainer would put together that package, right?
Yes. Yes.
And you do the full body. The exercise for that day would be train the body from head to toe.
Yeah, and
rather than breaking it up into isolated body parts, like Monday chest and shoulders, Tuesday back and buys, and rather than doing something like that to do it.
And I just recommended that for him with his goals. You know, some people I wouldn't recommend that type of training.
He's trying to tone up.
He
lost a lot of weight, so you can imagine.
And he's 75.
Yeah, you're probably going to have.
Amazing.
You're going to have, you lose volume, right? So you're going to you lose volume, and the skin gets loose, and so you're trying to build volume back with muscle.
With muscle, yeah. Like you said, he's not going to be able to put on a significant amount of size. So there's no point in telling him to go to the gym.
There's no need for him to do that.
Right. Exactly.
It runs at that age. You're trying to take less stress off your heart.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and that's why circuit training is perfect. It's form of cardio as well.
So if he wanted to do that, if he wanted more instruction, it would behoove him to get a personal trainer, and they could put a package together.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is high intensity interval training?
Yeah, it's real similar. It's once again, it's a form of conditioning that it kind of goes in with circuit training, but that's it. What that means is you're getting your heart rate up and then bringing it back down. So you'll hear a lot of people say, okay, I'm going to go to the gym and do 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. So it's a real similar concept to circuit training, except you're doing a movement for 20 seconds and then you're taking 10 seconds off.
Like I see people on the treadmill.
And they'll
sprint.
Yep. I do that, and I love that.
They'll sprint for 2 minutes or whatever, and then as fast as they can, and then they slow down.
Yep.
Oh, it's like running gassers in football. Then what they do with the NFL and stuff like that. Yeah.
And then they sprint again, and then they drop back.
Yep.
So you can do the same thing with exercise.
You can do the same thing with weights. You can do that on a row. You can row hard for 30 seconds.
By the way, the rowing machine, like the Concept 2, these rowing machines, man.
I love the rower. I love it.
It implicates almost every muscle group.
It does.
Yeah, I love the rowing machine. I was thinking about getting another one at the house. We'll be back.
Almost 52% of men experience erectile dysfunction and benign prostatic hyperplasia. If you've had challenges with virility, sexual health, or low energy, Body Vigor's Alpha Extension may be the answer for you. Body Vigor's Alpha Extension can help revitalize your alpha male and extend your love. Our formula is one of the highest quality nutraceuticals available, formulated to support the processes involved in promoting a healthy male sex drive, energy, and stamina. Alpha Extension has 2 powerful herbal blends, Virilomax, which focuses on male sexual health, and T-Pump Activator, which helps balance your testosterone levels. Revitalize your alpha male with Body Vigor's Alpha Extension, exclusively available on Amazon.com.
Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition, wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show and whatever you may be doing. Here's a way to connect.
You can reach us at 877-897-8255 or anywhere in the sound of my voice at 813-636-8255. Follow us on Facebook at Let's Talk Nutrition, one word, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Let's Talk Nutrition. And everything's archived and closed captioned.
I went, I was doing a little bit of research on circuit training. I want to go back to that because there's confusion that surrounds it. And Alina Sewell is my guest today. She's a personal trainer, uses these different techniques, these different approaches with herself and with her clients in trying to stay fit, which she is. Alina, welcome back.
Thank you.
I was reading that circuit training is suitable for almost everybody. They said from the weekend warrior to the elite athlete, and they were commenting, and it's intended to enhance or develop some level of fitness. And they were talking about, like, for example, they broke it down: upper body circuit, lower body circuit, core circuit, total body circuit.
Yep.
And if you go, for example, if you go to livestrong.com, they give an example of workouts where you have the upper body circuit, for example, where they said you can be performed for time by completing a desired number of repetitions. You perform the entire circuit, complete 45 to 60 seconds with no more than 30 seconds of rest in between each exercise. Okay. They say to perform this circuit using a set number of repetitions, complete 10 to 12 reps for each exercise with 15 to 30 seconds rest in between exercise. And you perform 3 to 4 complete circuits before cooling down. For example, you could do a bench press, tricep cable pull downs, pull-ups or chin-ups, cable bicep curls, and lateral raises. Now, to some of you, that doesn't mean a darn thing. Personal trainer would explain that. But you notice those different exercises would be performed high reps, little time in between, right?
Yes.
And that would be an upper body.
Correct.
That's a whole upper body circuit.
Yep.
And then you can do lower body circuit.
Yep.
Right? Then you can do for the core. So you would have a certain number of exercises.
Yeah, and those are killer.
Right. So by the time you're done, you end up doing upper and lower body and your core for that day.
Correct.
So you should be pretty.
Yeah, they're really good for people that don't have a lot of time. If you have maybe an hour, a little bit more to get in the gym and get out, that's why circuit training and full body training and HIIT training is becoming more popular right now. It's time efficient. You do what you need to do, and you're getting the benefits of strength training, endurance, cardio. And you just feel really good after.
They mentioned that it's both endurance. You get an endurance effect and a cardiorespiratory effect.
And strength.
And strength.
Yeah.
So if you want to learn more about circuit training, there are probably more books on the topic than I have since. There's much written on the internet about it. Or high-intensity interval training. You can read about that as well. And there are many examples. There's so much. Or get a personal trainer. Why do you? I know you're a personal trainer, so you have a bias. What is the advantage of a personal trainer for somebody, even somebody who's experienced?
Multiple reasons to have a trainer. Form. Okay, I even need a trainer sometimes. There's things I need correction on.
Form. That's funny. Why do you mention that? That's the first thing was out of your mouth. Form.
I mean, that's key. With so many movements, if your form isn't correct, you're not utilizing the correct muscles. Probably, it's also injury. You know,
be prone to getting injured.
Yeah. So
it's not how much; it's how.
Yeah, absolutely. It's how you're doing it, and form is one of the first ones I would say, but also the motivation and the just the support. You know, a lot of people want to quit when it starts to burn. That's not when you should quit. You know, they think it's burning. Okay, I'm going to put the weight down. If a trainer's there, they're going to be counting those reps. 10, 11, 12. All right, 3 more. They're probably not going to stop, you know.
So they keep motivating the client, keep pushing the client.
Every client I've ever had has told me if we stop training together for a while, they usually come back or they reach back out to me saying, my workouts have gone downhill.
I've seen professional athletes come into the gym, baseball players, even some that play for the Rays and have their personal trainer with them. And these fellows and these women, these professional, they know what they're doing, and they still have a trainer.
Right, yeah, and that's the same with me. If I'm training for something, whether that's a figure show or a CrossFit competition or a weightlifting meet, I have a coach or a trainer or that second eye on me. So, for the most part, I'm on my own in the gym, but you're going to benefit from a trainer as long as they're qualified and experienced.
How do you check that out? What's the question that a consumer should ask or inquire about a trainer's credentials?
Yeah, their credentials are important, what knowledge they have, their degrees, their certifications, but also...
Are some certifications better than others?
Yes. Yeah, there are.
And they can go online and figure out which ones those are. Then I interrupted you. You were going to say something else beyond their certification.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, when you're looking for a trainer, it's also about how they look. Do they look the part? Because if they're doing it, if they're living that lifestyle, they're going to know more than somebody who's just reading it from a book or learned it. And that, as myself, I pick up a lot of clients just because of how I look. I have a very wide base that I cover with my capabilities. I've been an athlete that has stepped on stage, and I've also competed in endurance competitions and CrossFit and weightlifting meets, and so that's something you want to look at for a trainer, is also just, do they look the part?
I found some videos of just
people in the gym. Now look at, see what that guy's doing. What is he doing? What is that?
it's wrong is what he's doing. Yeah.
No, and this happens. We see this in the gym, and I correct people if I see people doing something completely
We'll be right
off.
back. Hold on.
The ever-increasing stress.
Almost 52% of men experience erectile dysfunction and benign prostatic hyperplasia. If you've had challenges with virility, sexual health, or low energy, Body Vigor's Alpha Extension may be the answer for you. Body Vigor's Alpha Extension can help revitalize your alpha male and extend your love. Our formula is one of the highest quality nutraceuticals available, formulated to support the processes involved in promoting a healthy male sex drive, energy, and stamina. Alpha Extension has 2 powerful herbal blends: Virilomax, which focuses on male sexual health, and T-Pump Activator, which helps balance your testosterone levels. Revitalize your alpha male with Body Vigor's Alpha Extension. Exclusively available on Amazon.com.
Welcome back. Welcome to Let's Talk Nutrition, wherever and however you may be listening or watching the show, and whatever you may be doing. Maybe you're at the gym. I don't know. Talking with Alina Sewell. She's a personal trainer, and talking about different approaches here. There are all kinds of theories out there, and it can get very confusing. And you see a lot of people over the years. I've seen people in the gym doing things, and I don't know where they get these ideas, and they're doing them wrong, and you don't say anything because it's none of your, you don't want to get somebody mad. But the gym it can be a dangerous place too, and people not paying attention and doing things incorrectly. They can get injured, or they can injure somebody else when they're not watching what they're doing. Now, there's a lot of information on the internet. We were talking, for example, about circuit training, and how to create a circuit workout. For example, if you go to shape.com, I picked one. They gave some great ideas about circuit training and different exercises for upper body, lower body, and putting different exercises together to train them in a circuit type of fashion, the way it was explained. If you feel that you can't figure it out and you want to get into this, then maybe you might want to hire a personal trainer. Usually these these gyms that are like LA Fitness and others, a Crunch, there's any number of them where they have their personal trainers, and you can hire them and they will put routines together for you.
But I don't want to get somebody that's got a degree from online, University of Phoenix, the Harvard of online schools. I mean, I want somebody that knows what they're doing.
I understand.
That's why I said.
And trying to them. Yeah, look at them and watch them and see and check them out. But if you walk in cold and you're looking for a personal trainer, you know, how do you know? You don't know. So you have to ask around and talk to your friends. Which reminds me, how do you feel about a person training with another, having like a team? I see guys doing that. I see women doing that, where they come in as a team, boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife. I see that.
Yeah.
Or just friends.
Yeah, it's
How
great.
do you feel about that?
Oh, I think it's great. It's always good to have someone there.
Like I see people that have been training together for years.
Yeah, I know. I do too.
They're just good friends, and they train together.
Yeah. They hold each other accountable.
And it keeps you going in.
Yeah,
when you don't want to go, and you got to go because your partner's going, your training partner.
Exactly. Yeah, you're always going to push harder when you have someone there. Always.
877-897-8255. Call anytime you want. Ask anything you'd like. This can get very complicated. People that are middle-aged and older, they present a different set of challenges, don't they, in trying to set up programs for them compared to someone from 20 to 40 compared to someone from 40 to 60 or above.
Yeah. You know, I've had some clients in their 40s and 50s that were in excellent shape, and putting together a program was cake. It was fun, you know, and I enjoy challenges too. I've had clients that have injuries, knee replacements, have maybe, you know, diabetes, just trying to reverse that. Each client is so different. Each client is so different.
And so you have to adapt the program.
You do. Absolutely.
And you should find a trainer that will take that. We have people that listen to the show that are physical therapists, and they visit the homes of people that can't get out, and they put programs together for them.
And I've had clients that I have to come to their homes.
You know, and over the years, it's hard for people to stick with the program, isn't it? That's the truth, isn't it?
It is. It is. I've usually work with.
What percent of people really stick with it? Realistically,
you know, and it's not that people don't stick with it. People fall off and then they come back. They fall off and then they come back. What
percent of the population is consistent? You know, they stick with it and they're consistent. What
I mean, 20 to 30% of my clientele that I've kind of seen. You know, but more than that, I see. Well, you know, I've seen you at the gym for years now.
Yeah,
you're consistent.
I am very consistent.
Yeah, we've got regulars in there, and I notice it. I see it.
But it's very difficult for people to stick with it.
It is.
They lose their enthusiasm, And gyms count on that. If everybody showed up who had a membership, they wouldn't be able to accommodate them.
No, but that's where I tell people they need to start. They need to switch things up a little bit. Set a new goal. Change your training style. Maybe join a different gym. Do something else besides go to the gym. Do it. Pick up an activity outside of the gym. And I've had to do that myself. I've had many occurrences where I've felt burnt out.
So I have people say,
go.
I've had women say, well, I don't need to go to the gym. I do housework. I don't need to go to the gym. It's true. They're doing housework. They're moving.
Yeah.
But there is a difference.
There's such a difference. Yeah.
And they say, I don't need to do anything. I'm doing enough just by doing that. That's not necessarily true, is it?
It's a different type of enough. You know, housework is you're not lifting weights and...
Right.
Yeah, women tell me that all the time. Most of my clients are women, and they say I'm a full-time mom, or I work. I don't have time for the gym. You have to make time.
What do you think the minimum? What do you think the minimum? How many days a week, or how many hours a week, however you want to frame it, would be the minimum to get some benefit? Minimum.
You can go 3 days a week and see a change as long as your diet, your nutrition is...
What, an hour each day?
Well, once again, if you're doing a good circuit style training, HIIT training, really getting in there and going hard for an hour, that's going to benefit you. For the next few days, you're going to be reaping the benefits from that.
So even 3 hours a week, you can get a benefit.
Yeah, that's not optimal. The more, the better. But for somebody who's busy, if you can just get 3 hours a week of a good workout in, you're gonna see a change, a difference.
And what's the oldest client you've ever had?
Oh, wow. I think this was years ago. She was in her early 70s, and I worked with her for a very long time, steady. Did she improve? She had a lot of injuries that she wasn't looking she did improve. She wasn't looking to make huge improvements. She was really just trying to maintain flexibility, a little bit of strength. But I worked with her, I think it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday for years. She was just a steady client. She stuck with it.
Does make a difference. I can tell you that from my own personal experience. It does make a difference.
Consistency.
Now, the truth is, if you're intending to lose weight and you're just going to do it by exercising, you're probably not going to succeed. Diet's going to count for most of the success and the variance for weight loss. Diet and exercise together is the best combination. Diet alone, you'll have relatively good success. Exercise alone, probably not. Diet and exercise together, the best combination. That's the most success. Diet and exercise together. Diet and lifestyle, taking into consideration stress management, sleep, and all of that, you'll do much better with weight loss. Come back, I'll have the health question of the day. Right answer, you have a $25 gift card coming your way with the right answer. LTN, Coast to Coast.
Are your joints feeling out of date and stiff? Is that old sports injury flaring up? Is your body aching from the daily wear and tear at work? Body Vigor's Joint Ready keeps you at the ready for any joint pain that gets out of line. Unfortunately, as we age, joint pain becomes more common. Body Vigor's Joint Ready can help provide relief so you can continue to go about your day. Our formula contains sulfated forms of glucosamine and chondroitin. Studies show that these sulfated forms are more effective than regular glucosamine bound to hydrochloride. Joint Ready promotes a healthy inflammatory response, facilitates cartilage synthesis, and provides additional antioxidants. Keep your joints at the ready with Body Vigor's Joint Ready, exclusively on Amazon.com.
Here's the LTN health question of the day. We're talking about, I was talking with Alina Sewell about circuit training today. We also talked about HIIT training, high intensity interval training. But here's the question. Is this statement true or false? Circuit training is a form of conditioning that includes both endurance training and resistance training. Is that statement true or false? Circuit training is a form of body conditioning that involves both endurance training and resistance training using high intensity. Is that statement true or false? You can guess. You have 50-50 chance. Is that statement true or false? Circuit training is a form of body conditioning that includes both endurance training, that would be like lifting weights, or that would be like aerobic training, running, walking, swimming, jumping, rowing, or resistance training, that would be lifting weights or using machines, endurance and resistance. In other words, circuit training includes endurance and resistance training. Is that true or false? Here's the number to call.
877-897-8255, 877-897-8255.
Let's go to Oldsmar as opposed to Newsmar. Bruce, Oldsmar. Bruce, welcome to the show. You had a question about negatives or of repetition. What was the question?
Yeah, basically, I just wanted to hear, I don't know if you guys have already discussed it, but there's a fellow, I'm sure you've probably heard of him, Dr. Ellington Darden, who was in charge of Nautilus's research for 17 years.
Oh, yeah, yes. I know who I know who he is. I do.
Yeah. He's written like 50 books, but he's done a lot of research, like up at Gainesville Health and Fitness.
Yes.
With a lot of couples with weight loss and muscle building. What he found was if you build just as much muscle, okay, if you emphasize the negatives, for the listening audience, the negative would be the best way to describe it. If you're doing a bicep curl, you would start up, then slowly lower it for 20 seconds, then bring it up for 20 seconds, and then back down for 20 seconds. And when that became easy, you go to 25 seconds, 30 seconds. You do that for every body part. But in essence, kind of dovetails into what you're talking about in terms of people under time constraints.
Right, that's
when you think about it, you only have to, exercise one muscle group for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Well, what's interesting, there's a new gym business in town, and they're running commercials. They're using the same principle. Slow movement, using that negative, using the resistance or the negative part of the movement. I saw that commercial. They're running it. It's like they call it 20 minutes, and everything's done very, very slowly. By the way, Nautilus equipment, that was many years ago. That equipment is still around, and it's still pretty good equipment, by the way, the Nautilus.
And there is actually a new place that popped up. I don't know if it's the same one you're thinking about. It's called X-Force. It's over on 19 in Palm Harbor.
No, I don't.
And there's only about 2 or 3 places in the country that have this equipment. I believe it was either in Sweden or Denmark, where they actually count the weight stack at 45 degrees. But I guess my general question is, do you think negatives might be a good way to shake up?
What do you think? What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a real, that's very common with bodybuilders in particular. It's a great way for hypertrophy training. So, for example, you use the bicep curl. When you go down real slow and then fast back up. And that's real common to build a specific muscle. You're allowing more blood flow into the muscle, which in return, it's eventually going to build that muscle more. So that's real common with bodybuilders, and endurance athletes don't need to do that. It's just different in the results you're looking for. Right. So that's real common, for physique competitors, bodybuilders. For people looking for aesthetics, it's great, like the leg extension, negatives. I mean, you're going to be burning, but it's a real good way to help build and shape a certain muscle group.
Yeah, there are different theories. Exercise physiologists, I have a friend who has a PhD in exercise physiology, and I mean, there's so much science now behind the idea of exercise. And the science makes a lot of sense, but it can get very confusing for the consumer. And that's why sometimes they embark upon some program to do exercise and whatnot, and they end up getting so confused and frustrated they don't do anything. And I hopefully that won't happen. Find a good personal trainer. Talk to your friends. Maybe they can direct you in the right place to somebody who knows what he or she is doing. Try to read. Go to credible sources. Be careful of the internet. There's so much nonsense and false information, crazy stuff on the internet. You want credible sources. Just trying to emphasize that today, that there are many different approaches: circuit training, high intensity interval training, negative training, using that principle. There's so many, again, your point, Alino, that you said, what is your purpose? What are you trying to do? What's your goal?
Exactly.
What is your goal? And you can, with a good personal trainer, and some of these personal trainers have advanced degrees, by the way.
They do.
Some of them are PhDs, some have master's degrees, and they know the science. And many of them who have certifications from wonderful organizations, well-trained, and they know the science. That's who you're looking for to guide you. The health question for today is: circuit training includes both endurance and resistance training. Is that true or false? Speed dial. If you speed dial it, and we're moving off the air, we'll still give you credit for it, and we'll send you a $25 supplement gift card to Vitamin Discount Center. Alina, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. Just, trying to share with the listener different ideas, different theories. You're doing well. Your children, I'm sure, are very proud of you. A mom with 2 kids, stayed in shape all these years. She's going to turn 30. She's old at 30, right? Yeah, oh my God. I got shoes older than you. Stop it.
I've seen his closet.
You're great. You're doing
Thank you.
I really admire and respect your approach and how you've done things and taken care of your kids. And her kids are beautiful, beautiful children.
Thank you.
They're proud of their mom, I'm sure.
Lead by example.
There you go. We love that. And we thank you for listening, watching the show. We'll come back, do it again tomorrow. We've got somebody calling in. We'll see. Probably won't get them on the air. But Stephen, if you get the right answer, Stephen will give you credit. We'll send you the gift certificate. Always enjoy being with you. We'll see you again tomorrow. We'll serve it up. It's always fresh around here. Nothing processed. No processed foods. No processed ideas. It's all real. It's all organic. Your health is your wealth, and your health is the wealth of those that care about and love you.